This is the Analysing Anfield podcast on the Blood Red channel, bringing you the best tactical and statistical analysis of Liverpool FC.
Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Analysing Anfield, your tactics and analytics podcast, courtesy of the Blood Red channel. I am joined by the usual co-host, David Hughes. How you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, Josh. Is that too positive?
Well, I'm not, so
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm a little bit down, aren't I?
Yeah, of course.
I assume this is a relatively, eagerly awaited podcast, I'm assuming, because...
Unless people have decided to give the football a miss for a few days until Liverpool start winning again, but hopefully not. Hopefully we've got loyal listeners and watchers.
Yeah, that'd be understandable, to be fair, but Liverpool, surprisingly, alternative to what we're used to dealing with on this show, I've lost 2 matches in the space of a week. And we have to talk about those. We have to get to the bottom of maybe what's going on. I'm not going to look ahead to Bournemouth, and we've also in the same episode got to look ahead to Atletico Madrid because we face them next Wednesday and we will be recording next Thursday, I think, so a lot to tackle. So let's get started and we'll go with the...
Buckle up.
We'll go with the most hurtful one of all, I think, the Watford game. What do you think?
Yeah. Were you really disappointed to lose the unbeaten?
Yeah, I was gutted. Yeah, I'll be honest.
Were you hoping for the Invincibles?
Yeah. I was gutted. I've seen a lot of people say we're going to win the league. We'll win the league by 22 points or whatever it is. But I really wanted that Invincibles tag. I'll be honest.
Because it just kind of solidifies you as one of the all-time greats, isn't it?
I'm not an Arsenal fan, and I can tell you right now, the year that they went unbeaten, couldn't tell you who won the FA Cup that year or the year before or whatever. So that was a big thing, I thought. But so it's a shame. But having said that, I do think that since the international break, since the winter break, I think we've kind of been hinting towards something's going on here. We've said the whole game 2 halves a few times, haven't we? And that's been because, particularly in the first half of matches, Liverpool haven't really turned up, lacking fluidity and things like that.
Very disjointed. Yeah,
and this was the same, but this time it was maybe 1 match too far, sort of thing.
Yeah. It felt like on the day there was an accumulation of bad performances, I thought. Normally
the whole squad was terrible.
Yeah, if you can have 1 or 2 off days, someone, because there's that many superstars in the Liverpool side, someone normally drags you out of the mess or comes up with a goal when you need it, or a big block at the other end, and it just felt like nobody particularly played well. All had a bad day, and it resulted in certainly one of the worst. Bearing in mind, obviously, I've always kind of watched Liverpool to an extent, I guess, but mainly like Sky games and stuff. It's only been within this role I've started really watching them every week, and that's probably the worst I've seen Liverpool play, I'd say.
Yeah,
as a collective.
I mean, I must say, I think we've lost maybe once or twice or something like that since we've recorded Analysing Anfield since the start. This has been going on for a year and 2 weeks or something like that, I think, which is testament to Liverpool's level.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first proper deserved loss that we've suffered. This was a fully deserved defeat. Like, each week on this show we go through like performances as opposed to just the result. And a lot of weeks, even if Liverpool struggle or even if Liverpool lose, I'm thinking particularly Barcelona away in the Champions League when we got beat 3-0 somehow. I thought we played really, really well. Yeah. This was a match where we just absolutely deserved to lose. But out of interest, would you prefer that? If a run's gonna come to an end, would you prefer a narrow loss or a proper, defeat?
I actually think it's. I'd probably prefer to narrowly get beat, because I know it's quite frustrating, but it indicates that your performance levels are there, and when the dust has settled, you can say, we still performed well. It just wasn't our day. Whereas it felt like this, which we'll come on to in a bit, but maybe this result left a bit of a hangover for the game at Chelsea, and now it's just taken the shine off what's been a great season so far a little bit. I mean, it's all with context. You can say that people are getting a little bit carried away, and we're not going to get carried away. It's still a fantastic season, but I think the manner in which they lost was probably quite a disappointing aspect.
Yeah, I actually think I'd label it as a collapse, to be honest. Just to capture why Liverpool deserved to lose. Obviously, we lost 3-0 on the day. The expected goals, 2.1 for Watford and 0.3 for Liverpool. 0.3 is obviously terrible. And that's obviously basically a 2-0 loss, according to the expected goals. 71% of the ball Liverpool had. Now, we usually mention possession in reference to dominance because we usually say it alongside how many shots we had with that possession. Liverpool had 71% of the ball, but Watford had 14 shots, Liverpool had 7.
Yeah.
Watford had 5 on target, Liverpool had 1. And I think, to be honest, at the time, I remember thinking this on the day, if we'd have continued playing for another week, we wouldn't have scored. It was just a terrible, terrible day of performance, really. We just never looked like finding the net. And we looked a bit messy whenever they threatened to break on us.
Yeah, and look, any data you use has got to be used with context, hasn't it? And normally high possession does equal things like territorial dominance and obviously leading to plenty of shots. But in this case, you could argue Watford most likely tactically set up to allow Liverpool to have plenty of the ball, and did a good job of just not letting them do much with it in the final third. So you could argue that a lot of that possession was probably as a result of Watford's tactics.
Yeah. But one of the reasons that I wanted to actually state that Liverpool deserved to lose this match, this wasn't a fluke, this wasn't a moment of madness, this was a bad performance all round in attack and defence. The reason I want to say that is because I think a lot of people will have been inclined to look at the coincidence that Lovren had been included and painted the whole defeat on him. We will get to Lovren. He was terrible. I'm not denying that. But this was a full team loss for me. This was just, the attack did not work. The midfield didn't dominate the pitch as much as it usually does, which probably coincides with, Watford can actually match us physically in the centre of the park, which many teams can't.
Yeah, they've got
and in defence, we was all over the place. So this was a proper loss, and one that we haven't really had to address before on this show. So the game of two halves. Have you seen the expected goals timeline?
I have, yeah.
It's virtually, there's not much in it up until half time. Yeah, which is what we've seen.
And that spikes massively, doesn't it, for Watford?
Yeah, spikes. Yeah.
Remember, we were kind of applauding Liverpool for we decided that they were choosing to play in that manner, where they'd have lulls within games, or they'd put it in one half and kind of relax in the other. Do you think they're now actually struggling to string together a full 90-minute performance?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's, and I've tweeted this a few times since, I think I'm going to write a speech on it today. We're not taking the lead, and that sounds so simple.
No, yeah.
But we aren't taking the lead, and it is an entirely different game when you take the lead in a match. Yeah. If you're chasing a goal and the opposing team doesn't need one, it's just a different game completely. And I actually looked at the numbers on this before. Let's have a little look. So Liverpool have spent 1,312 minutes in the Premier League this season with a lead, compared to 1,043 minutes with the scores level, and just 208 minutes losing. And I think, you've mentioned a few times, haven't you, how Liverpool could play in a low block if they wanted to. Yeah. I think we can cover our defence better, basically, when we don't really need that goal. We can play on the transition a little bit more, which is what we used to do in Klopp's early years. We was a transition team. And you can do that less when you need to score and the opposing team don't. Yeah. You become more of a possession-based team, more of a Guardiola-type side. And although Liverpool have grown in the years in terms of being capable of still finding the net with those scenarios, it's still probably the thing we're least comfortable with doing, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And it will always depend on the players we have on the pitch as well. Lovren didn't particularly help in possession. Naby Keita didn't play. I mean, I'm supposed to make an excuse there because we still had the front three, and we still had Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk. But
yeah, it's sometimes these games are really hard, aren't they? To just dissect what happened and try and quantify it all. It's difficult.
I will say that Liverpool have now faced what essentially forms a back six 3 times really since the winter break. Simeone obviously used the 4-4-2, but whenever Trent and Robertson started to advance into like the final third and things like that, Simeone's wide midfield players would tuck back in, and it'd become a back six that followed the runners. Moyes, that's the same back six, and Watford, similar in terms of when Liverpool get close to your goal, you've got a defensive line that covers the entire width of the pitch with no real channels opening up or anything like that. Our crossing game's been a lot less effective lately.
I was just about to say, see that a lot of sides have done maybe not always the back six, but they've certainly been as deep as that. And I've always really applauded Liverpool's ability to probe, you know, just maintain patience within the final third, and eventually they wear sides down, and that's what they've just seemed to lack a little bit. The crossing hasn't been great, and it's been a little bit forced sometimes, and when you're forcing it, it's so easy to kill momentum by putting the ball out for the goal kick, and suddenly you have to restart all over again. And it's definitely something that's just lacking these last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there was one change. I think there was one, might have been 2 actually, but there was 2. Ox came in for Keita, and Dejan Lovren came in for Joe Gomez, who apparently had a tight hamstring. What are your thoughts on Lovren? Generally, without the performance.
Yeah, genuinely, he's not reliable for me at all. It's with him, it's a constant cycle of write off, recover, relapse, repeat. It's just the same thing all the time. He's too chaotic, and I think it impacts the players around him. He just doesn't slot into the Liverpool side as well as others, and I just don't think he's good enough for Liverpool. I think he'd still perform in maybe a top 8 side, but he's not.
I think I've got a few points to make on him. I think firstly, he's inclined to engage in battles that he might not win, and sometimes you just don't need to. It's just as simple as that. You don't need to get involved in these battles. Troy Deeney is a very clever player. Beneath the surface, he's really, really clever. And he knew that Lovren wanted to fight him. I think he said that after the match, actually.
You don't need to win the ball on the first duel, do you, or the first exchange against an attacking play. It doesn't need to be won then. Sometimes it's just about patience and slowing them down and just making it difficult for them to bypass you. But I agree, he seems to always want to be like keen to recover as soon as possible or get in these battles, and it's just it looks a bit amateur at times, the defending.
Yeah, and I remember Carragher spoke about when he used to face, I think it was Drogba, Didier Drogba, and obviously because he was just such a powerful striker, when he was faced with an aerial duel with him, rather than actually jumping up with him and battling for that aerial duel, he'll instead stay on his feet, give Drogba a little nudge, and ensure that he's still kind of in control of the situation almost. But as I said, Lovren's inclined to engage in battles that he's got maybe a less than 50% chance of winning that battle sort of thing, and he can be a bit easy to read from the perspective of Deeney. Deeney knows what he's going to do, he knows he's going to fight him, he knows he's going to get tight and all that stuff. I think generally he can perform to a good, fine level for Liverpool, and he's relatively suited to Liverpool's game in terms of being quite assertive and aggressive without the ball. But I do think that if you're going to bring him in, don't bring him in when, as we've said recently, we are not the machine that we were early in the campaign. I think he's brought Lovren in at a time when Liverpool are lacking fluidity and Liverpool are not the best. And considering, I can't remember when Lovren's last start was, but it was certainly before Christmas, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you'd prefer to see Lovren in terms of fixtures. You'd rather see him this weekend against Bournemouth at Anfield, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Somewhere like Watford against someone like Deeney, expecting them to. But then what I will say is, if it's an injury, Klopp's probably had no choice. But then that probably means they might need to bring in reinforcements in that position in the summer.
I mean, a lot of people couldn't get their heads around Matip was left on the bench. He opted for Lovren over Matip. A lot of people couldn't understand that one. I think possibly that stems from Lovren being maybe up for a bit more of a fight than Matip is. I think Matip's
but then
a little bit different in that regard, but at the same time...
That's the thing we're criticising, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know what you're saying. So I suppose there's two ways of looking at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, as we've said lately, we haven't really been as good as we were before the break. And I think just, maybe this is a bit much, but I think maybe bringing Lovren in has been the straw that broke the camel's back almost.
Yeah. The tipping point almost.
Yeah, a little bit of a tipping point. But as I said, we need to reinforce the fact that like Liverpool have not been good anyway. And this was a team loss. This was a deserved team loss. But whether it would have been 3-0 or not without Lovren remains to be seen. Obviously, Ismail Sarr was fit to play.
Did we say he wasn't going to be fit?
I said he wasn't going to be fit, and the reason I said, well, I mean, I guess I'm not an injury expert. That's not what I'm providing insight into on this show. But he said, Pearson said before the previous fixture that he was not close or nowhere near facing United. So I thought, if you're nowhere near facing United a couple of days ago, you're not going to start against Liverpool, surely.
Yeah,
but he did. Really good player.
Yeah, really, really good player. I that one's the one I missed at Anfield sticks out for me, and obviously then becomes a bit of the thorn on the side in the last game, and yeah, just a very, very good player. He'll be one to watch, I think, in terms of movements over the next 12 months. I can't see him staying there long. Yeah,
I mean, he was everywhere. He scored initially from a throw-in, which is a little bit embarrassing from a Liverpool perspective because we have a throwing coach, and that doesn't usually happen. But the throw-in came in, and Lovren was pinned by Deeney. The ball just bounced right over Deeney's head, and Sarr scored. And the second goal, I know we have maybe different opinions on this, but I think Deeney gets the ball again from, I don't think it's a throw-in actually, but he gets the ball out wide, and without even looking up, Deeney just hits a ball in behind.
Oh yeah.
With the hope that Sarr will get onto it. Van Dijk and Lovren start tracking back.
But do you think that was just a
hit and hope?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm trying to say is, do you think that was just a consequence of chance? Because I don't, do you?
What, you mean, did you think he means it?
I just think they know. I think they would have said, look, Liverpool's defensive line is high. Just if you get an opportunity or you're low on chances, just ping it in behind and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe so. I'd be a little bit surprised if that's the case, purely because I did watch the clip back a few times to see if Deeney at any point looked up to see where Sarr was, but he didn't. So it looked like he just hit it to me, but I'm not sure. You might be right there.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at it now. But go on, sorry.
But what the point I'm making is, maybe I'm being a bit too harsh again, but I do remember thinking
means that. Sorry.
You think he means it?
I do. Yeah. If people listening or watching get to watch it back.
But what I'm saying is, in terms of meaning, that you think he knows where Sarr is.
I just think he knows. Yeah, he knows that if the ball's one here. So I think it's Hughes back heels it to Deeney, and look at Deeney now. He's not even he's thinking straight away. Just put the ball in behind, bam, down, and it's a through ball as well. Right? Like the way he's shaping that, it looks as if he might just hit it long, but in reality he kind of zips it across the floor.
Yeah.
Just watch now, zip.
I must say it's a perfect pass.
Yeah. It might need it. That's a good finish as well, to be fair to him. Not many do that to Alisson.
No, they don't. That's what I mean. It was just one of them games where everything just went completely wrong compared to what we usually see.
Yeah.
But my only point on that, though, was going to be, again, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but I remember thinking at the time, if Gomez is in Lovren's position there, does Gomez not catch the ball first before Sarr, but does Gomez get close enough to put Sarr off? And I remember on this podcast a few weeks ago, I can't remember if it was you or Chris with me, but I used the example of why Liverpool are still the same defensive team with Gomez or Lovren, but we seem to concede fewer with Gomez in the team. And I used an example that's just, Gomez has just got that slight more pace, whereas he's inclined to get closer to the shooter before he actually shoots, if you know what I mean.
No, I mean, it is a very valid point. And I think what I disagreed with before we were even recording was, I don't think he gets there, because I think Sarr's touch is quite good. He takes it to his. He almost takes it to his right away from Lovren. But I do agree with what you're saying, because when we've tried to dissect Liverpool's defence and why so many players miss big chances, we've kind of concluded that they're really good in terms of defensive pressure, aren't they? And you do wonder if Gomez is in the place of Lovren and he's just a couple of yards closer.
Because he is really, really quick, Gomez.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think Gomez probably puts at least more pressure on the shooter, which in turn can, he ends up chipping over Alisson. If he's under more pressure, is he going to be that confident, or he's just going to try and get a shot off?
Yeah.
These little microseconds nanoseconds, do impact things. So it's a good point, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. That's complete guesswork, I suppose. But I just remember thinking it at the time. I remember thinking to myself, I thought back to the point that I made about Gomez just having that extra yard, and I just thought the shot would still go away, but maybe would it be a bit difficult, a bit trickier to execute if Gomez was closing you down as opposed to Lovren.
Yeah, good point.
And the third goal, the worst of them all for me. Straight from a goal kick, the ball falls towards again Lovren, and I think he heads the ball, but in the process is like off balance and falls over basically. The ball goes to Trent. I think Trent plays a back pass straight to Sarr. Alisson obviously closes the angle to try and prevent the goal. Passes it to Deeney, and Deeney just hits into an open net.
Yeah.
But that is a terrible goal to concede that. Yeah. And that's the exact type of goal that Liverpool had completely eradicated for 18 months.
Yeah, it was a real third goal in a 3-0 defeat, I thought.
That was really, Liverpool 2 years ago, that goal. Because 2 years ago we had an inability to deal with aerial threats, and we made mistakes at the back. And that was those two things in a single sequence.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get it all now, but my thing keeps freezing annoyingly. But yeah, and I mean, I remember the goal, I've seen it many times, and yeah, it's just a catalogue of errors that you just don't normally see. Maybe it's just a lapse in concentration in terms of wanting to get the ball back up the other end of the pitch as well. If you look at the freeze frame there, I don't think Trent's even aware of the dangers. I think he's probably just thinking, get the ball to Alisson, he'll get it back up the end of the pitch that we want, so we can try and build an attack. But
I think Trent did something similar earlier in the match, actually, very in the early moments, but didn't really get punished as much. But I don't know, it was just one of them games where every single player, with the exception of maybe Andy Robertson, was off his usual game.
Yeah, you're right.
Just didn't perform to the usual level, didn't execute the same responsibilities as well as usual, and
it doesn't even look.
Wasn't great. But
no, it was messy. It was a messy goal.
But we're going to move on to Chelsea a little bit in a sec. But I think what we've just said there, for me, captures one of Liverpool's key issues at the minute. These are two very, very simple things, right? And they sound very simplistic. But these are things that Liverpool have catered for throughout the whole season. Number one is, as I said, scoring first. Sounds simple, but believe me, it makes a huge difference on everything. And B, just don't make any defensive mistakes. And Liverpool never do it. Those two things, they sound really simple.
No, the blueprints of this Liverpool side, though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's just complete basics that Liverpool seem to follow every single week. We never ever make a defensive error in our own final third. And we, since we saw the likes of, I don't know, Mignolet and Moreno and Nathaniel Klein, and I think Klein's still contracted actually.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But since we moved all them out,
though, does he?
No. Yeah. Since we moved all them out and we got more reliable players in, that's just stopped happening. And we've scored first in the majority of games, as I said, and that's just stopped recently.
Lovren's a hangover of that regime, though.
Yeah, he is. That's a good point.
Something to bear in mind.
Yeah. But we'll move on anyway to Chelsea. Obviously, with it being the FA Cup, we're going to spend a little bit less on this, I'm assuming. But having said that, one of the reasons we spend less on it is usually because Klopp seems to overlook it.
Yeah.
Liverpool are big on the whole, economic use of resources and stuff like that, and dedicating your best resources to the tournaments that matter. Hence why we usually play the kids in the domestic cups. But Van Dijk played, Mane played, Gomez played, Robertson played, Fabinho played. So straight away I thought to myself, that's a lot more intense than I was expecting. And I thought to myself, maybe with the league being basically sewn up, maybe Klopp's looking at the FA Cup as a potential double.
I think he was, even being honest with you.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and had that result on Saturday not happened, and maybe even the Atletico one as well, I think he would have played a younger team than that. But I'll be honest, I think he probably wanted to win that game.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts on this game aren't probably as bad as most. I think this can happen. I think Liverpool played half first strings, half second strings. Chelsea did the same. It was at Stamford Bridge, and they scored first. They took their chances first.
Yeah,
we had a fair few opportunities before they actually found the net with William, which again I must say stemmed from a mistake from Adrian.
Yeah, and Fabinho probably you'd say as well.
Yeah, but I think this, yeah, and Fabinho, yeah. But I think this can happen. This one, I think the performance certainly for the first hour at least was decent. I thought it was okay. Towards the end, we seemed to struggle a little bit. But
post the second goal though, wasn't it? Was it really that it looked to drop off a little bit?
Yeah, but I think this feels a lot worse because of the Watford result a few days earlier. But I think had we beat Watford as normal and we lost to Chelsea like that, I don't think there'd be that much of a force. Because as I said, I think this kind of result can happen.
But do you feel? I agree, by the way, but maybe I'll just play devil's advocate. Do you think that because they lost, there was more emphasis to go and win that game?
Yeah, I think there was.
And then maybe that's why the disappointment's there, because they probably looked at it and thought we need to bounce back in this match. It's now suddenly got added importance behind it.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. And I do think we showed that emphasis early on. It was just we conceded first again. And obviously once you're chasing the game, the opposing team maybe gets fewer chances, but when they do, you're a little bit wide open because all your players are trying to attack. Yeah. So I think it kind of just followed that scenario really, and it wasn't great.
Were you worried about the failing to score again or anything?
I'd be worried about failing to score if we didn't look like scoring, but I think in the first half in particular, we really did look like scoring. Yeah,
there was that melee, wasn't in the box that I think on another week probably one of them just hits the roof of the net. Yeah,
Mane had a chance as well where he didn't end up shooting, he ended up turning back, but I remember thinking to myself there, just hit the target, just shoot.
Yeah.
But he ended up turning back for some reason.
Excuse me.
But we looked offensively a little bit better, at least for an hour.
Yeah.
But one thing I did pick up on that, I must say that he was awful.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think he's, for me anyway, I know he's a club hero and all stuff like that for the things that he's done, but when he doesn't score, he offers virtually nothing. Literally nothing.
Yeah, he's a goal getter, but you know, Liverpool are. Yeah, we always see the same machine. Like, they are a very unique side. Like, there's not really many like them out there, is there? In terms of how they play and the positions and roles the players have, and I don't really think you can shoehorn in somebody like Origi to just make it work. He is kind of there to just get you the odd goal, but you know, he started yesterday. I don't think he can start games. I think he can't get involved in everything that goes with it.
This is probably my point, I suppose, because I think he started because we don't really have any other rotation option. We played Minamino, Shaqiri's out injured. The next in line is Origi, and I think that's my point. I think
so. Reinforcements.
I would sell him if we got a decent. I wouldn't actively look to sell him. It's not that desperate, but I think if a club came in with a decent bid for him, I wouldn't be inclined to keep hold of him. No. I think we can get a much more Liverpool type backup than Origi. As I said, if he doesn't score, he offers very, very little. He's not a threat in behind. He tends to come towards the ball and go backwards. A lot of the dribbling that he does,
he looks slow and laboured to me sometimes.
It just tends to be a bit like fruitless though. Like he tends to do stuff that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Like he'll dribble for dribbling's sake.
It does. He doesn't. His dribbles don't seem to progress. You know, you don't. It's very rare that you see him then like beat a man and carry the ball into the box. Just kind of, he might beat a man, but the man's just still there in front of him, and there's still work to be done. I'll be honest. I know he scored really big goals, and he scores against Everton. But I don't particularly rate him. Maybe I'm being cruel.
The thing is, though, a lot will.
Champions League.
A lot of people will.
Yeah, I think that'll annoy a few people, me saying that, but I'm just being honest. I think, he scored huge goals, but
I think probably a lot of clubs will as well, just because.
Why? What do you think Origi's level is in talk about the Premier League kind of positioning?
Tough question, that. Initially at Liverpool, he offered a really good, like, he led the line really well, but a little bit like Calvert-Lewin is now. Not as good,
but
a little bit along those lines. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, I've got like an alternative to Raul Jimenez at Wolves in my head. Something like that.
I seem too static for that, you know.
No, I know, you're probably right, yeah. That just came to mind.
And same with Calvert-Lewin. I know, sorry mate. Yeah, I could see him honestly a mid-table, like top 10 striker.
Yeah, same. Yeah. But I don't know. He's just the type of player that, like as I said, he doesn't really offer much when he doesn't score. And if Liverpool receive a bid for him, I think we could get a more Liverpool type player. So I'd be inclined to accept that and target someone who's going to fit the mould a bit more. But yeah, just a little bit more on the whole Liverpool failing to get a lead thing. I tweeted this out last night, so those that follow me will be aware of it already. But 450 minutes played since the winter break now in all competitions. Liverpool have led for 24 of those minutes. It's not great.
No, not by Liverpool standard, but not by any standards. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So I think we'll leave the defeats there. Do you think? But for me, I don't know about yourself, don't know if you want to add in, but for me, the two key things to note is that we've stopped scoring first and we have started making mistakes, at least in those two games. And the attack, for whatever reason, is looking a lot less fluid.
Yeah, I agree. I had a little look at the defence because that's something I'm thinking I'm going to write about today. In January, when Liverpool were putting together this, formidable run of like clean sheets, basically from end of December to mid-February, it did feel like they were still quite reliant on opposition players missing big chances. It felt like they were still giving opponents big chances, and I think up to define a big chances, an XG of around 0.4 upwards. I'm a little bit more lax. I think anything 0.3 upwards is a big chance, in my opinion. And I think it's difficult to have a low expected goals against for every game, but if you're going to have a fairly high one or anything of note, you want it to really be an accumulation of bad shots as opposed to bestowing like an opponent a big chance. And I just had a look at some of Liverpool's big chances conceded across that run where they had clean sheets, and I've gone from the new year. So that was Sheffield United. So Sheffield United, 1 big chance. Tottenham, 1 big chance. United, 2 big chances. Wolves, 3 big chances. West Ham, 1 big chance, but none for, versus Southampton and Norwich. But they only conceded 1 goal in that run. Whereas over the past 4 games, they conceded still just 1 big chance against Atletico, but conceded from it. 1 big chance against West Ham, conceded 2 goals from it. They conceded 5 big chances against Watford, but that looks to be a little bit of an outlier, that game, let's be honest. That's not going to happen every week. And then it was just 1 big chance against Chelsea and they conceded 2 goals. So I think what we're seeing is over the last few weeks, it's not necessarily that the defence is getting worse. It's just that they have been bestowing 1 or 2 big chances per game that you want to try and really cut out. And Klopp did talk about that after the United game, where he said they need to improve on concentration levels and stuff. So I don't think it's necessary, except for Watford, I don't think it's necessarily getting worse. It just seems that they were once reliant on opposition attackers missing these chances, but at the moment they're converting them. So expect it to maybe level out over the next few days, and might start seeing the next few games, and we might start seeing more of the clean sheets. But in short, the writing was on the wall a little bit that they might start conceding more frequently.
Yeah, I think it was coming a little bit, wasn't it? But I think if you're going through a bad run of form, of all the teams you can possibly face, Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, right at Anfield, the team that in the last 5 meetings with Liverpool are losing by an aggregate score of 17-0. It's daft, isn't it?
Oh, it's woeful.
So if Liverpool are going to get back on track against any team, it's going to be Bournemouth. And if we don't, then it's times of worry.
I don't think you could handpick a better fixture in the Premier League. And,
absolutely ideal.
I know Spadway, these have lost 8 of the previous 9 away league matches as well.
Yeah, they seem to be a favourite for Mo Salah. Across those last 5 meetings, Salah has 7 goals. I think there was a hat-trick in there somewhere, away from home. Again, across those 5 matches, Liverpool average 18.4 shots compared to Bournemouth 7. And I just think they're an ideal opponent for Liverpool to face, because they try and play their own game, don't they? They try and build from the back, and I think they build specifically down the flanks, but I think Liverpool are just so aggressive, and we can teams that are usually easy to predict how they build from the back, we usually do really well against. I'm thinking Leicester.
Yeah.
Twice this season we've absolutely dominated Leicester.
Yeah. And
that's because you can, if their patterns are easy to pick up on, you can plan and press accordingly based on those, can't you? And I think Bournemouth are similar.
Yeah, and they also, I think they lack the ability to just sit in as good, you know, in terms of maybe just sitting back and trying to do something on the counter, but soaking up pressure. They don't seem to possess that. So I suspect they're going to struggle at Anfield. Also, can you imagine what it's like in the dressing room for the Liverpool players at the moment after going 2 games?
Well, that's it. I mean, technically
2 losses.
Yeah, technically Liverpool should be furious, really.
Yeah, I think they will be. I picked on a few quotes from Curtis Jones, who's not even a fully fledged senior player yet, but you could sense the frustration in his words. He was saying, the criticism they're getting, like they've lost 1 league game all season. And you can imagine the conversations that happened in the dressing room. So I wouldn't like to be Bournemouth.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, you got to spare a thought for them, I suppose, haven't you? But I think they're just a team that Liverpool can. I think they're just a team that Liverpool can take consistent risks against, without consequences. Really, usually if you take risks against a team, the downside is that you're going to concede counter attacks or whatever. But that just doesn't seem to happen against Bournemouth.
No,
we seem to have complete control, and one player who loves to take risks and does seem to benefit usually against this team is Naby Keita. Seems to always play whenever we play Bournemouth for some reason, and he seems to play very well. Whether he's going to be fit enough remains to be seen, but
again with the fitness with him though,
I know it's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, you just can't get it running the side. It's something that we've been saying when we spoke about him recently.
I know. To be honest, based on the way he came off against, who was it? West Ham. Yeah, it was West Ham.
Yeah.
Based on the way he came off against that team, then he seemed to have a sore hip. For me, I'm inclined to think that maybe he doesn't have a sore hip, maybe he's just been instructed to work on something behind the scenes, taking out the spotlight, and he's going to be reintroduced against a team as easy as Bournemouth. Something like that, maybe.
You know what? If he lined up, that's probably a good take.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. I always believe these little niggles that the media that are given to the media.
Yeah, because you know what? It's not a bad shout. That actually, I just got distracted there by noticing that Bournemouth have only beat 2 sides above them away from home.
Chelsea won.
Chelsea, one of them, 1-0.
Yeah, they've actually played Chelsea twice this season and picked up 4 points.
Have they? Yeah.
They haven't been beat by them, yeah. 2-2 I think it was last week, as recently as last week.
Not that I'm saying that that suddenly means that they're going to go to Anfield and win 1-0, but just interesting.
No, just a little bit on Bournemouth's numbers, you will notice a theme reoccurring here. So the 16th for expected goals, 16th for expected goals against, 16th for goals scored, and 16th for goals conceded. So, Dave, I think we might be facing the 16th best team in the league.
Yeah, I was just laughing to myself. Sweet 16 there, isn't it? So,
yeah, or not so sweet 16.
Yeah, not so sweet. Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it, mate.
So they're on the cusp of the relegation zone, I suppose, aren't they?
Yeah, a bottom 5 side who look... Well, they actually are in the relegation zone, aren't they, at the moment? They're from bottom, so...
I didn't know that. I thought they were just above.
No, so but they're on 27 points with West Ham, Watford and Bournemouth. It's very tight down there, so they can't really be going into any game and just kind of rolling over. They're probably saying to themselves, we need to pick something up here. So in that sense, maybe it's going to be a competitive game, because one thing I've noticed is we've underestimated a lot of sides recently. I don't know if...
I mean, the Watford one, no one...
No, forget Watford. Yeah, but Norwich, for example... No, Norwich was a bit... We expected very little there, but they made it competitive, and I think the Liverpool edge is making sides play maybe 10-20% a little bit better than what they have throughout the season. So, they could make it competitive, but I just personally cannot see them stopping Liverpool, especially after 2 bad results like this.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Just a little note on Liverpool when they played them away from home this season, scored from the infamous ball over the top, Henderson to Chamberlain, I think it was on the day. Obviously Henderson won't be playing this time, but I'm sure Van Dijk's capable.
Yeah.
Oxlade, Chamberlain, I think will probably play in midfield if Naby Keita doesn't. So just that's worth adding, I think.
I'm sure I remember you saying after this game that was the worst side you've seen Liverpool facing this season.
Yeah, the easiest game Liverpool have played all year. Yeah, it was just keep the ball and then occasionally find a net and then keep the ball again.
Yeah,
and it was just. But that was when Bournemouth were going for a period of really lacking confidence. I think Eddie Howe gave a few interviews around that period and he just looked defeated.
Yeah, it looked like he was probably going to go.
Yeah, so fair play to them for getting back on track a little bit, but I still think it's going to be an easy one for Liverpool, really. So verdict on that one.
Yeah, I can see a 4-0.
Can you?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go 3 on that. 3-0, I think. But maybe Liverpool will gain 2 and then just be so focused on keeping things away from the news.
Yeah.
That a 2-0 win is just so boring that no one will even report on it and just be standard back to winning.
Yeah, maybe
ways.
just go, don't try and, as you said, steal the headlines. Just go out there and do business as usual and get things back on track. Because they probably don't want too much fuss prior to the Atletico game anyway, do they?
No. Well, that's a segue, innit? So, Atletico Madrid. Now, this feels like a difficult one to preview now because we don't know how Liverpool are going to perform against Bournemouth. Liverpool obviously lost 2 in a row at the minute at the time of recording. So, right now, I feel concerned, to be honest, because we're not in form. We're not in form in attack either. And this is a team that you have to throw the kitchen sink at, basically, to find a goal. So, I don't know about you. I mean, you're obviously a bit more...
I fancy Liverpool.
Do you?
Yeah, and I'll come deliver some good news from the outset, right? I was just having a quick look at it, because I just think Atletico's so different home and away. I feel like their system works so much better when they got the fans behind them and on top of them. Away from home, I think it's a different thing, and they have only won 2 of their previous 15 away matches across all competitions.
All competitions, yeah.
Yeah, which is quite. I know I touched on their Champions League record and just post the last game against them, so I won't go over that again. But I just don't think that as solid away from home, and they're going to, for me, the toughest place to play in Europe at the moment, Anfield. Yeah,
hopefully that's still the case on in the upcoming 2 matches, because it feels like we've been away from home quite a bit lately. So since defeating Liverpool, Atletico have won against Villarreal and drew against Espanyol, who are bottom of the league actually. I think Atletico's XG in both of those matches was a 1.1 according to the provider we use, which isn't particularly high.
No, it's not dominant for the so-called top side, is it really?
No. We know that they'll use 4-4-2. That's just an absolute given. Very, very narrow back 4 inside the width of the penalty box. And then wide midfielders, as I said earlier, that tend to follow our fullbacks and situationally form a back six. So they're just it's going to be attack versus defence, really, isn't it? I mean, I'm not sure how much of an attack that they will actually look to pose. I know that a few seasons ago they faced Juventus away from home. I think they had a 2-0 lead, maybe a 3-0 lead from the home leg. And they turned up at Juve with the intention to just sit on it for 90 minutes, and he ended up getting knocked out.
Yeah, was that, I'm pretty sure, was Ronaldo's just first season?
Yeah, last year, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. Yeah, they
so
did.
Maybe he'll
because Diego
Simeone
Simeone did that in famous celebration and such time.
Yeah.
He went in the first leg.
Yeah, but do you reckon he'll have learned from that, though, when he'll come to Anfield thinking, I've got to attack a bit more here?
I don't know, because I think, and listen, I love these. I think they're a great side. I like Simeone, but I do think they can be a little bit one-dimensional sometimes. And I'm not really sure they could adapt the tactics.
Yeah, I think for Liverpool to get anything from this, we have to be relentless with the tempo.
Yeah.
I think you have to really up the tempo to like something that the Spanish league isn't used to seeing.
I think you're looking circa 17, 18 and maybe that City game. You need something like that, just a relentless 20 minutes.
Yeah, just chaos.
Yeah. I suppose they did that against Barcelona, didn't they, as well? They scored early on there.
Yeah.
I think if they score in the first 15 minutes, then I think you could potentially blow them away. If you go to the hour mark, for example, and some big chances being missed or they've defended really well, that's when the self-doubt creeps in, and then you start snatching at shots and hitting balls from distance, over hitting crosses, and that's where I think the panic sets in.
Yeah, I think a lot of the support that the team will get from the fans on the day, I think a lot of that will almost transform into doubt if we get into half-time and it's still 0-0. But having said that, obviously the power of Anfield and stuff like that, you can't really underestimate from an opposition player's perspective what it's like to concede. If they concede once inside, say, half an hour, the self-doubt that you must feel, and it's that siege mentality, I'm assuming, where you just kind of go in yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll happen. Hopefully we'll see that. I remember saying last month that I'm not sure whether Atletico are just that type of team. They seem a lot more determined than that to me. They're not the shy type, are they?
No, there's definitely more fragile sides that have come to Anfield than these. These are, but this is why we said it was such a bad draw months ago when it come out, didn't we? We said that, this is why you did want to get into this position, which Liverpool are now in, because what's going to potentially happen in terms of it being a really difficult game to difficult second leg. But just if someone said you have to put 20 quid on someone progressing now, I'd be going Liverpool, like.
Yeah, no, I think I would as well, but
it's not a given.
I think it wouldn't be like a massive full of confidence there and like that. Kieran Trippier played on the weekend as well. He's essentially became their version of Trent almost. He's bagged 3 assists in La Liga, which is the second most in the team.
He missed the first leg as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he missed the first leg. Christian was actually looking forward to seeing Sadio Mane face him. So whether he plays at Anfield remains to be seen. Probably will, actually, considering he's got the English. He knows he's been there before and all that stuff. But
well, I said to you though, didn't I, earlier? What I found interesting was he's this is for right backs who've played 800 plus league minutes. He's got the best defensive duel success rate in the division in La Liga.
Yeah,
which is a bit strange. But so maybe Simeone's making him a better defender. But I'm still not sure about him dealing with lofted balls. I think he's not great in the air, and his positioning isn't always the best.
Not the quickest either.
No. I remember Man City doing quite well against Tottenham last year, Sterling versus him. Yeah, and that's the type of thing where Mane thrives. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much his game's developed over there, defensively at least.
Yeah. One massive perk, I think, that Liverpool continually benefit from each year in the Champions League in Europe and things like that, is that over 2 legs, you obviously get to analyse how a team's played against you before then facing them again. Most teams, you'd assume, say for example, Simeone, he's just won 1-0 against Liverpool. You'd be inclined to think that for the next match, he's probably going to same as then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not really going to change much, is he?
Stick to the winning formula.
Yeah, and I think most teams are the same. But I think Liverpool's analysis is obviously really good. Peter Kravitz and people behind the scenes like that. And I think we're really good at identifying what went wrong, creating a new plan to tackle that. And it results in us maybe overcoming these second legs in really impressive fashion usually.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can underestimate that, the fact that we're able to analyse the first leg before going into the second leg, which is going to be at Anfield.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. Yeah, because Liverpool can be so fluid in terms of the tactics, they can adapt quite well, and I suspect they'll already have a plan to overcome what they faced in the first leg.
So verdict? Drum roll?
I agree, it might be tight, but I'm going to go for a 2-0.
Okay.
Or 2 or 3-0, I don't know. I'll go 2.
90 minutes?
90 minutes, yeah.
I am going to go, bear in mind the current position of Liverpool, have just lost twice.
Yeah.
We haven't played Bournemouth yet. But I am going to go 1-0 Liverpool. And I don't know what's going to happen beyond that. I can't predict extra time, penalties, any of that nonsense.
Oh, so you're on a flip of a coin, are you, in terms of how it might turn?
A little bit, yeah. I just, maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I just can't see this team collapsing. I can't see Madrid collapsing. They just don't come across that type to me. But as always, you can't underestimate the home ground at Liverpool, and we will see anyway. Hopefully, I'll be happy to admit that I get that one wrong if we end up coming out 5-0 winners.
Yeah, definitely. Should we let everybody know to keep an eye out for some personal news tweets?
Yeah, the Substack thing, you mean?
I wasn't even talking about that. I was actually talking about the Liverpool under-23 job that we've been
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Courtesy of Paddy Power and Betfair.
Yeah.
Both me, you and Chris, 275 to 1 to be the next Liverpool under-23 manager.
Yeah, I mean, at least probably shows that we're doing something like
that. Yeah. So yeah, you can... I'd be interested to see if anyone actually put a bet on us.
Yeah,
screenshot it if you do. It's on Paddy Power or Betfair. You can get odds of 275 to 1, but just don't be expecting to pay for your holiday from the profits.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
Next week, I guess we'll try and get Neil Critchley on.
Yeah, you can give us some tips on how to deal with the pressures of under-23 football.
Yeah. Right. So thanks for joining us anyway, Dave. Hopefully Liverpool are in for a better week than we've just suffered. And tune in again next week.
Cheers.
Thanks.